Alright, so welcome back. In today's video, I got a lot of train stuff for free from my grandpa's neighbor, and it's about time to start going through it all. So, let's just get right into it. I'm going to start by going through this box because it's the only one, I believe, without any actual train things aside from that Marks box back there. So, we're going to go through that one not at all. So, don't ask why I skipped that, so let's just get into this. We'll just have my camera positioned down here and I'll start rummaging through things. There's a whole bunch of empty boxes in here. Sword Atlas engine. This happens to be a new water tank kit. I might assemble that. I already have one water tank kit thing on my layout. There's also, in terms of kits, this Al's General Store. This one, there's also this box. Just has nothing in it. I believe they go to some trains. There's a whole bunch of transformers in here. We've got this double transformer. Might be useful for around Christmas time. We've got this dual train MRC controller. The box is a bit too big to fit here, but there's that. There's also this box. I think it's supposedly a kit. Looks like everything's in there. Not sure what I'll be doing with that. Couple empty Taiko boxes. There's this one, which I believe happens to be another dual power pack. There's a lot of that stuff. There's some lifelike track cleaner. Don't know if I'll be using that a lot. Just some decals. Whole bunch of random instructions. Then I have this whole box here full of stuff. It's mainly full of parts. There's another transformer. I don't actually happen to know what these are. This might be a wheel cleaner, but if anyone knows, let me know. There's a whole bunch of KD washers and couplers in here. A whole bunch of resistors and wheels. So I've got all the couplers I'd ever need in here. There's some really old dry Labelle 102. Yeah, it's mainly just a thing of parts. Some sort of circuit board in here. Don't know what it does. There's this nice little wheel gauge tool. I think that's about it for that box. So I'll clean all this up and then we'll go through the next box. So this is the next thing I'm going to go through. It's a Taiko turbo train set. I've actually always wanted one of these, so let's see what's in it. A whole bunch of big track. A lot more track. There's some curved in track and a power pack in here. Some sort of thing in here. Just gonna start taking all these off. In here, got some of these joints. But what we also have is a turbo train set, which is something that I've always really wanted. So that'll be a really cool thing for me to mess around with at some point. Put all the stuff back into the box, and then we'll go into the next box. So now it's time to start going through this big red box here. There's some train stuff in here, but there's just a lot of boxes. we'll just take all the boxes out, then we'll get into everything. Might be a minute before I tear all these out. Just throw these boxes off to the side, then I'll come right back and we'll continue. Okay, so the rest of what's in here are trains. Some of these are kind of stuck together. So first off is this Taiko crane, which I think goes with my steel hauler train. Next up, there's this Burlington covered hopper. Next, we have this Maine potatoes boxcar. Next, this is something that I've really wanted. It's this Rock Island crane. Next, I have this little Great Northern pipe car. Here's another Western Maryland pipe car. Here's an Arco gas tank car. Here's a Coca-Cola tank car to go with my larger one. Here's a Conrail hopper. Here's an MDEM hopper. Here's an Oscar Mayer reefer. I have one of these, but this one I actually have with metal wheels, so I can use it elsewhere. Here's the boom crane to go with the Rock Island crane. Here's a few random coal loads. Here's a Southern Pacific boxcar. Here's a Spirit of 76 caboose. Here's a Tootsie Roll tanker. A few more things I have to move out of the way here. Here's a Baby Ruth boxcar. Not a chugging sound one. Here's another New Haven car. I think this is a Marx. I have no clue what it is, but it seems interesting. Next we have this Revell New Haven caboose. Next up we have this Rio Grande Cookie Box boxcar. Next up we have this Vlasic boxcar, which I find interesting. Next we have this very colorful Taiko cattle car. And then last for the freight cars, we have this United States Steel bulkhead flat car, which I think goes with the steel hauler. There's a few other bits and pieces in here. Nothing major, but now we go on to the really big things that I'm excited about. This is an Athearn dummy Jeep of some sort. I think it's a GP40 or 60, I don't know which, so please tell me in the comments what that is. Here's one that I've heard stories about. It's an Athearn SD40-2. In here, it looks a little bit beat up, but it's really cool to me. It's an Athearn tunnel motor, which one of my friends will really enjoy. So that's that whole box, so let me get everything sorted out and cleaned up a bit, and then we'll go on to the next box. So now we're on to the last box. I've had a look in this, and this one seems really good. Let's start getting into this one. In here, just a whole bunch of parts and stuff. Here's a nicer new station. Might have to incorporate that into my layout. There's a little bobber caboose. An SP gondola. An Exxon tank car. A C&O boxcar. A silver Southern Pacific boxcar. Seems to have sprung trucks as well. There's two of these Ruthland boxcars. I think they're Bachmann, judging by the couplers. 1/87th scale ruler. whole bunch of parts and stuff in here that I'm just going to pull out of the way. Here's a 49ers boxcar, a State of Maine boxcar, a NBM or MDM, I don't know exactly what it is, boxcar. Here is a Taiko TT, or not, trailer train flat car. Here's a train with a whole bunch of cat construction equipment on it. There's a whole bunch of these in there. Here's a really nice UP caboose. Here's a cornflakes boxcar. Here's a Taiko piggyback car. Here's some UP piggyback trailers. Here's a Wabash flat car. Here's another Wabash flat car with some tractors on it. Here's two of these Gulf tankers. A lot of pieces of debris and stuff in here. Here's a Quaker State tanker. Here's an SP bulkhead that's pretty short. Here's an M and STL hopper. Here's a Michigan alkali tanker. Here's another Baby Ruth boxcar. Here's a random shipping container. Here's another random shipping container. I think they might go to the trailer train car. Here's a some sort of coal car that's kind of falling apart. There's another piece to it. Here's a MKT cattle car. Here's a UP hopper. Here is some sort of log car. Here is some sort of tanker. What else is in here? Here's a Safeway truck. Here's a Santa Fe caboose. Here's an SP boxcar. Here's an Amtrak Mao gondola. I'm running out of space here. This one seems to be kind of falling apart. Here's some sort of chemical tanker. Here is an auto rack. Here's a BN gondola. Looks kind of strange to me. Here's a chassis system hopper. Here is a Shell tank car. Here is some sort of cattle car. It's a really nice one too. Here's some ore cars. Here's an SP caboose. Here's another construction car. Here's a Taiko Virginian hopper. Here's a really heavy Southern Pacific hopper. I'm gonna have to put couplers and such on a lot of the stuff. Here's another ore car. Here's another chassis hopper. Here's another one of these steel coil cars or something. Here's a C&O gondola with some logs in it. Like we're coming down near to the end of the rolling stock here. Here's another Pennsylvania ore car. I think all that's left in here are the last 4 engines. Here's an Athearn Hustler. Here's another Union Pacific GP18. I believe this is now my 4th of them. These last 2 engines in here are really cool. Here's a Union Pacific Desert Storm unit. Whole bunch of spikes and things are caught in here. So hopefully that'll run. Then, last but not least, here is some sort of Athearn Bnsf engine. So, that's everything. Let me get everything sorted, and I'll show you what everything seems to be. So this is all our rolling stock in total. It's a lot. I haven't counted exactly how much it is. I probably will after this. But here are all of our engines. This one's a dummy, but all these other ones are powered. And the Desert Storm and Bnsf engine are really nice for being free. So let's go test these engines now. Alright, so now it's time to test all the engines. First we're going to start with the turbo train. I know that this one runs, so I can show you how. It doesn't really like my track work or the railroad crossings. You can see. It also doesn't like to go backwards, so that one runs. Let's go on to the next engine. So next up we have the little Athearn van drive switcher. So let's see how that runs, or if it runs at all. Seems like the bands are deteriorated, so might need some oil and some new bands, and then it should run. So let's go on to the next engine. Next up is this AHM GP18, which is now my 4th one. And I'm split on if it'll run or not, because these are reliable, but it is a lot of carbon built up on the sides, if you can see there. So let's see if it'll run. Oh, this one actually seems to run really well. That's a success, so let's go on to the next engine. Up next is this Blue Box SD40-2, so let's see if it'll run. Oh, there it goes. This seems to be wired backwards of the GP18. It is a little noisy, but yes, it does run. So this one might just need a good cleaning and some oil, and then it should be ready to go. So let's go on to the next engine. Here's the next engine, which happens to be the Southern Pacific Tunnel motor. So let's see how it'll run. I think it'll run because it's an Athearn Blue Box, so. Yes, it does run. It seems to be a bit sluggish and very loud, though. So it probably needs a good cleaning and some oil, and it'll run good. So, now let's go on to the newer Athearn engines. So next up is this Bnsf Gp40. I looked on the engine and it said Gp40, so assuming that's what this is. So it does run. Sounds like the engine bearings or something might need some more oil. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'll work on it. Probably won't do a restoration of this just because it seems somewhat simple. Let's go on to the final engine. And for the final engine to test, we have this Union Pacific Desert Storm engine. So let's see if it'll run. I think it will. Yeah, it seems to run pretty good. So thanks for watching. If you want to see another video, some more free trains, click on the screen around now.